Hi everyone, Bindu here with Crafty Meraki. I am back with another amazing demo, and this time we're going to be working on New Year's cards. Before we start with today's projects, I want to share with you the Crafty Meraki website, and I want to show you how easy it is to find things on our website. So on our website, you click on Collections, and that brings you to this page where you can see that all the brands that we carry are listed here in alphabetical order. Not only are the brands listed, but as you can see, dyes, distress inks, basically categories, ink cubes, inks, they're listed by brands as well as by categories. So say you're looking for distress inks, you can just go directly to distress inks and buy the distress inks that you're looking for. Oh, and what's this here today? We have a special collection created that has all the products that I'm going to be using in today's demo. So it's clearly called SSBE Demo Products. So you can just go to Collections, find SSBE Demo Products, and you can just shop for all the products that I'm going to be using in today's demo. I will also give you the link to the collection, so it's easier to find that way as well. One last thing I want to show on my website is this section here that's called blogs. Our design team members share daily inspiration on the blog, so you can go to the blog section, you can see the card that they've made, and you can also read the blog, you can also read their process of how they made that card. Cool, right? So be sure to check out the blogs as well. For the first project today, we are going to be using a die cut as a stencil. We're going to use this Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo, and we're going to use these Nuvo spatulas to apply the Deco Foil Transfer Gel. And we're going to be adding Deco Foil to our cards using the transfer gel. I'll be showing you all of this in a minute. I want to quickly show you all the different varieties that Deco Foil comes in. It comes in this pre-packed format, and it comes in many different colors, as you can see here. And each package contains 5 transfer sheets. I'm only showing a few colors here, and I'm only using 2 specific shades for my projects today. But Deco Foil comes in many different colors. You can see all the available Deco Foil in the SSBE demo collection that I shared on my website. So I'm going to start off by taking the die cut panel, and I'm putting it on top of my card base, my slimline card base. I'm putting everything on my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station. If you haven't guessed it, we're going to be using the die cut panel as a stencil. So I normally wouldn't be using tape. I only use the Make Art Station, and the magnets are pretty strong enough. They hold everything pretty well. But in this case, I'm using tape just to make sure that nothing moves, and also to make sure that the gel that I'm about to use doesn't spread. So I'm being extra careful. I'm being very, very cautious. So I'm going to tape 3 sides of this card, and as you can see, and I'm going to start applying the Deco Transfer Gel onto the card base through the stencil on top. Deco Transfer Gel, let me give you a quick introduction about this gel. If you're new to it, this transfer gel actually can be applied onto cards, and it helps you transfer foil onto the card base in 2 ways, and that's why it's called Transfer Gel Duo. You can either transfer foil using heat or a laminator, like I'm going to do today, or you can also use this without heat. You can simply, once you apply the foil on top of the gel, you can simply take that panel and put it through your die cut machine. Like you would normally a die cut, you would just put it through a die cut machine, and that's enough to actually transfer the pressure from the die cut machine is enough to transfer the foil onto the card base. Once I'm done applying the transfer gel, I'm going to scrape off the excess using the Nuvo spatula. Once I'm sure that I have applied the transfer gel properly in all the nooks and crannies, I'm going to take the tape off and I'm going to start peeling off the panel from the card base. At this point, I'm going to turn on my laminator and let it get hot so that once we're ready, we can just pass the panels through the laminator. And I'll show you here in a second. So I'm carefully peeling off the top panel from the card base here, and you can see that the stencil has actually left a beautiful pattern with the Decofoil transfer gel. Next, I'm going to set these two panels aside for a minute, and I'm going to let the Decofoil transfer gel actually dry for a minute. While the Decofoil gel is drying, I'm going to get out a regular printer paper and I'm going to fold it in half. I'm doing this so that I can pass the panel through the laminator using printer paper as the cover sheet. The next step is for us to take the Decofoil and apply it to our card base as well as the panel. Normally, if you use a stencil, you would actually be cleaning out the stencil to make sure that the Decofoil gel doesn't sit on the stencil and the stencil would be gone for a toss. But in this case, you know I love stretching my supplies. So in this case, I decided that the panel also has the Decofoil gel on it. So I'm going to use that panel to make one of my card fronts for today. The foil that I'm using for this card is called the Decofoil Amber Watercolor Foil. So I'm going to take one of the foil sheets and very carefully set it on top of the panel. Now remember, this already has the Decofoil gel on it, so it's going to stick the foil on top. I'm simply using my fingers and lightly rubbing the foil into the panel at this point. You could also use a stencil pal, like I'm going to do here in a second. You can use a stencil pal to smooth out the foil onto the panel. So make sure to use very light pressure on your panel. You don't want to be using excessive pressure. You don't want to tear the foil. So once I've applied the foil to the top portion, I'm simply going to cut it out. And I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom portion that's remaining. And I'm going to cover that portion with the same foil as well. This is a slimline card, so the panel is 8.5 inches long. And because this pattern is pretty forgiving, I'm not too worried about lining up the foil exactly to match. You'll see when I peel it off that it doesn't really make a difference. I'm simply putting the foil on top once again, and I'm going to smooth it out with my stencil pal here, very lightly with very gentle hands, not too much pressure. You don't want to tear the foil once again. So I'm going to apply it, and once that's done, I'm going to cut off the excess. I have my laminator plugged in and ready to go once I have my foiled panel ready. Once that is all done, we're going to take the printer paper that we folded in half, and we're going to put this entire panel inside the fold of the printer paper. and we're going to pass it through our laminator at this point. So the laminator is nice and hot. The green light indicates that the laminator is ready. So I'm simply going to pass this paper through the laminator. It doesn't look like it's doing anything, but it's actually feeding the paper on its own. And once it's done, we should be able to simply peel off the foil from the panel. So remember, we applied the transfer gel onto the card base as well. I ended up not using that for today's project, but I basically did the same thing as this panel. So this is the card base that had the transfer gel applied to it. I took the rainbow shattered glass foil. I followed the exact same process for this card base as well. I simply applied the rainbow foil on top and I passed it through the laminator. After I peeled off the foil, this is what the two panels look like. Next, we're going to do some heat embossing. I am using a black cardstock and I've applied some anti-static powder on top so that my embossing powder only sticks where I want it to stick. Also, I'm using the new laser etched Misty here, and this is what it looks like. The new laser etched Misty is also available in the store, and it's also in the SSBE collection that I shared earlier. Let me show you the stamp that I'm using today. This is a brand new stamp set from Crafty Meraki called the Year of the Ox, which is based on the Chinese New Year for 2021. This stamp set is not yet released and will release on Monday, the 4th of January. But I wanted to give you all a preview of what is to come on Monday. This stamp will also be in the SSBE collection, and you will be able to pre-order it starting today. So back to our embossing. From this stamp set, I'm using the cherry blossoms image as well as a few lanterns to gold emboss onto a black cardstock panel. I am using Brutus Monroe Gilded Embossing Powder, and I'm going to add the embossing powder on top of the cardstock panel, which already has embossing ink on it. Brutus Monroe Gilded Embossing Powder is a beautiful, brilliant gold embossing powder, and you'll see that here in a minute. So here's my embossing tip. I like to keep this small container, and I just use the gold embossing powder and dump it into the box so that I'm not making a mess on my surface. Once I'm done applying the gold embossing powder to the cardstock, I'm tapping off the excess and I'm going to heat set it. I'm gonna do that off camera here, but I'm gonna heat set this cardstock and the gold embossing powder on it. And I'm going to fussy cut these images one at a time. Once I have fussy cut all the images, I'm simply foam mounting them onto the foiled die cut panel that we made earlier. I started with the cherry blossom image. Next, I'm going to add all the lanterns. And finally, I'm gonna add the Happy New Year sentiment. I chose very non-traditional colors for my New Year card, but don't be afraid to try something new. Black and gold is, for me, very classic, and that's why you see me use black and gold here for a New Year's card. Even for my next card, you'll see me use black cardstock. I was at one point afraid of black, but the more I use it, the more I see its beauty and the more I am unafraid to use it. So try something new and you may be surprised. You might fall in love with something you thought you would never do. Once I foam mounted the flowers and the lantern images, I'm gonna also foam mount the Happy New Year sentiment at the bottom. Last but not least, we're going to mount this entire panel on top of a card base that is 8.5 by 3.5 inches wide. For my second card today, I'm using this Shine On stamp set by Crafty Meraki, and I'm going to heat emboss this onto a black cardstock panel again. This time I'm using the Brutus Monroe Rainbow Embossing Powder, which gives a beautiful sparkle. But it's very subtle. You'll see when I'm done heat setting here. So once I'm done heat setting, this is what the rainbow embossing powder looks like on black cardstock. It's very, very subtle. It's almost not there. Next, I'm taking the same stamp set, the Year of the Ox stamp set. And I'm going to use the same images again, the cherry blossoms and some lantern images. But this time I am going to gold emboss on red cardstock panel. I'm using the same Brutus Monroe gilded embossing powder once again. But first I'm applying my anti-static powder on top of the cardstock. Next, I'm taking the lanterns and the cherry blossom image. And I'm going to apply the gold embossing powder and I'm going to heat set off camera. Once I'm done heat setting, I am going to, once again, you guessed it, fussy cut. So I'm going to fussy cut out all of these images and have them ready for my panel. Now all that's left to do is to mount all of these images onto our card base. So I already mounted the black panel onto a card base, and now I'm foam mounting all of the stamped gold embossed images on top of that black cardstock panel. So you know these projects are not complete if we don't add bling. That's right, we're gonna add the Pink Fresh Studio Essentials Jewel Mix Jewels using the Crystal Katana. If you saw my last show, you already know these are my favorite products. So I am just finishing up these two cards by adding the crystals onto the cards. So for today's show special, you can use code NEWYEAR20 to get 20% off your entire purchase. Here is a final look at our projects. I hope you like these 2 cards and thank you for spending your time with me today. I hope to see you all again soon. Also follow us on all social media channels for daily dose of inspiration from our design team. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you all soon. Until then, stay happy, stay crafty.